Hello everyone and welcome to It Goes Off. It's ticket off time where we take a look at all the major issues going on around the INET NBL, and it all started last weekend, Grantley, with Cedric Jackson, the first player this season to register a triple-double, and he did it in spectacular fashion against the Melbourne Tigers in really a blowout game by the New Zealand Breakers against the Tigers.
30 points, 3-0, 3-0, 30 points. Cedric Jackson, the triple-double, and the first player this season to win 2 Player of the Week nominations. So he's going pretty well, and clearly his credentials are on the table for everyone to see. Is he the best import in the league right now?
Well, the way he's playing, 28 points, 10 rebounds and 10 assists. And I think that the fact that he's going up against Johnny Flynn, those players played against each other at the collegiate level. And any time you've got someone of a similar style of player to yourself, similar age, and he's a number 6 pick in the NBA draft, you're going out there to make a statement. Cedric Jackson certainly made that statement.
Look, the numbers certainly say that, but it's not just a one-off game from Cedric Jackson. He's been very good all season. So 25, 10 and 10. I mean, for you, what would that have been? You would have had the 25 by halftime, and then it would have taken you 5 games to get 10 points and 10 rebounds and 10 assists? Well,
you might want to just consult the statistical data to see if that's the case, but we get your point. Hey, what about in that game, though? The Melbourne Tigers, let's be honest, they are not playing well at all. And when you look at their roster on paper, they've got some outstanding talent, and for whatever reason, not gelling at the moment.
You're pointing the finger at the coach?
No, not at all. I'm just saying they're not playing well.
Oh, you're saying the players, they've got the players. So.
Well, they do. When you look at their roster on paper, there's some players in that lineup, you know, Seth Scott, outstanding. Johnny Flynn, his form and statistically since arriving has been very good.
Probably
you got Lucas Walker's a good athlete. Even Nate Tomlinson, although he's not getting to play much, he comes with great credentials coming from what he did collegiately at the University of Colorado. I just think that Matty Burston, he's a proven starting centre on a championship-winning team. So they do have some tools to work with.
Look, they certainly do. I think probably, I don't know, I think for me what they probably lack is that killer scorer. Someone who can, go out and, before they walk on the court, you're going to have 16.
Yep.
And maybe up to 25. And I just don't know that they have that. Flynn can get there, but he tends to need the ball a lot.
Yep.
Scott, like you said, good player.
Outstanding player. Seth Scott, both on the glass, he can inside, outside.
But he's probably still not that. For me, that's with your 2 imports, they just need that Australian who they can get the ball to and let him go. A bit like, I guess, what Ben Madgen does for Sydney.
Everyone needs a Ben Madgen at the moment. But I guess the player that they were hoping to has been solid without being spectacular is Liam Rush. He's probably been a little down on what they were hoping he could bring to the table.
Look, he probably has. But I think the other thing you've got to look at is that some of those players on the Tigers roster are starting to get old. So it might be time, I think, they start looking at a bit of an overhaul for that roster.
Gee whiz. Well, I tell you what, Grantley, we've got a new player coming into the INET NBL, and the Perth Wildcats, because of the injury to Matty Knight and a calf injury, I think it is, and he's had this before, and I think he's going to be out for some time. So they've taken the
probably
steps,
5 or 6 games,
which is when there's really not much between 1 and 4. That can really have an impact on your season. So the Wildcats have made the change with Michael Dunnigan. I'm not sure how you pronunciate it, but
apparently that's how
do you say?
Apparently that's what happened to Matty Knight's calf.
What's that?
They said, what happened? He said, I've done again.
That is quite funny. But Grantley, tell us a little bit what you know about this new fella coming into the competition. Played in the Pac-10 with Oregon.
Yeah, big guy, about I think 6'10". Young, as you say, went to Oregon. He's had a bit of experience in Europe, and I think he's probably going to bring to the Wildcats obviously a bit of height, but I think he's going to bring a bit of athleticism. I think he could be an exciting player for the Wildcats.
Well, let's hope so. They're going along nicely at the minute. They had a little bit of a hiccup, won 3 in a row, lost 3 in a row, but their last 2 they've looked impressive, and certainly last Friday against the Sydney Kings, they looked very sharp. Now, Grantley, Michael Dunnigan, or Dunnigan, he won't make the All-Star game because he hasn't been around long enough.
Could be a coach's pick.
He'd have to have a spectacular game this first up performance. But it's on the 22nd of December. Tickets still available, so all Adelaide fans, get out there and buy a ticket. It's going to be a great event. We've got later this week. The NBL website, nbl.com.au, is going to announce who the lineups are going to be for both teams.
It's going to be interesting to see how that final voting does fall, because when it closed, there were a couple of...
On the borderline.
There were a couple of interesting ones. We weren't sure if Benny Madgen was going to make it.
Well, he was going to make it because he's going to get the coach's choice, but we weren't sure.
No,
he was
as in the fan voting.
Yes.
The fan voting. So, it'd be interesting to see how that goes. But I'll tell you what, Adelaide, did you catch that thing? What a great job Body Nodge did for Movember. He's
always got the moustache though, with the big handlebars.
Oh, so he didn't just grow that for...
No, he's strong. Don't worry about that.
I thought that was just for Movember.
No, he's looking sharp. Actually, I wouldn't, if he walked in here without the moustache, wouldn't know. Who's this bloke? Hey, Grantley, also during the All-Star weekend, we've got the slam dunk competition. And we can announce who the slam dunk competitors are going to be. Who will they be, Grantley?
They will be Mitch Creek, Thomas Abercrombie, Darnell Lazar, the aptly named Lance Hurdle, and Lucas Walker.
Yes, and I reckon Lance Hurdle's going to have a bit of an advantage here because the fans and the judges seem to like it when the little fellas get up there. And Lance has got some significant hops, so he would be my tip to take that one out. The local boy, Mitch Creek, could be a little smoky, but who do you like the look of?
I like Lucas Walker. I think Waxy. I think he might have a couple of tricks, and he will be up there.
Now, Grantley, as we do every week, we love to get the feedback from you folk out there. We want to tackle your questions. The NBL Facebook page is the best way to submit a question, and each week we give away an NBL prize pack to the best question. We've got a lot of them. We're only going to tackle 2 questions today. You can also send a question to our Twitter handles, Grantley Bernard or Andrew Gaze 10. But the first question we've got, Grantley, and I want you to give an honest answer to this one, from Josh Carroll. And he wants to know, with the Kings in the top 4 now, do you think they have a chance to go all the way and win the championship? Can they win the championship, Grantley?
Of course they can. Doesn't mean they will.
No.
Look, of course, if you make the playoffs, you've got a chance. Can the Kings win? Yeah, I give them a small chance. Yeah. I don't think over a series, I don't think they can probably compete with New Zealand or Perth. Or I think maybe they could compete with Wollongong. I think they would find it hard against teams like Perth and New Zealand.
I think you're right. I think that even if they make the playoffs, it is going to be one of the great seasons of all time. I mean, they've got solid talent, but I think Shane Heal's getting the absolute very best out of them, and they're only probably 1 or 1.5 players, if that makes any sense, away from being a legitimate challenger. But I think in a 3-game series against the likes of New Zealand or Perth, I doubt very much that in that high-octane finals environment that they would be able to win.
Can you define greatest of all time?
Over 30-plus years of NBL competition.
Making the playoffs will be one of the greatest performances of all time.
Well, it will be, because
even better than 30 championships.
No, the greatest performance in a season by a team playing to their absolute very best. I actually think a couple of years ago, the Wollongong Hawks were that team where Gordy McLeod just did miracle-type stuff. But this year, certainly with the talent they have, they're doing very good. Of course, Ben Madgen leading the way there. He was fantastic. And we should just quickly mention one of the more heroic scenes we saw last Sunday against the Adelaide 36ers. Goes down, shoulder pops, looks like it's dislocated. And not only does he come back and plays, but plays quite well.
And keeps shooting the ball.
Well, he was 6 of 12 from the field. He ended up with 14 points and 5 rebounds, having what looked to be a nasty shoulder dislocation.
No, it was very brave, inspirational for the Kings, I'm sure, and at least he didn't have his head wrapped in bandages for a mosquito bite.
Oh, mate, 4 stitches in the back of the head, 5 in the Vera Lynn, still soldiered on.
Well,
but anyway,
the size of your head, 4 stitches covers up a mosquito bite.
Hey, Benjamin Parker, our second question is coming from Benjamin Parker. And Benji wants to know, sitting at 5-5, are the Adelaide 36ers underperforming with such a stacked roster? Good question, Benjamin. And I'd actually say yes right now. And it pains me to say that because you never like to have a team that is not doing as well as what they're capable of doing. I think the Melbourne Tigers fall into that category as well. And I've got a great emotional attachment to them. So I'm just saying that as just to try and show that I'm being objective here. But the Adelaide 36ers have got a better than 5-5.
Yep.
And their weekend they just had losing to the Townsville Crocs and then the home loss to the Sydney Kings. They're not playing the sort of basketball that they're capable of playing.
No, exactly right. And I think, the old axiom that it's not how many times you get knocked down, it's how many times you get up. Well, now we're going to find out about the Adelaide 36ers and whether they can get up.
And it's that the home losses they've suffered, the couple they've suffered already that may come back to haunt them. But at 5-5, they're still, we're not writing them off.
They're too good. They're too good to be 5-5, and they're probably too good to miss the playoffs. If that does come to pass, they do miss the playoffs, I'd say there'll be changes in Adelaide next season.
Ooh. Read into that what you would like, Benjamin. Now, Grantley, it's your job to pick who is going to pick up the sensational NBL prize package, just all the goodies, merchandise that we give out there. Who's going to pick that up? Is it Josh or Benjamin?
Well, I know that you wouldn't recognise a hard question anywhere, so we're going to give the prize to Benjamin Parker for his question about the Adelaide 36ers.
Good on you, Benjamin. We'll try and be in contact with you. If you haven't heard from us, just send us an email or whatever it is. But we will
just give him a call on 04.
No, I don't give them out, Benjamin. Just be very clear on that. That's all we have time for. But make sure you tune into the pre-game show because we are going to announce this season's participants in the NBL All-Star Game, December 22nd in Adelaide. Make sure you get your tickets because it's going to be a beauty. We're going to announce that in our pre-game show. So tune in on Friday to check out who is actually going to be the participants and all the upcoming action in round 10, which is almost upon us. Before we go, we have to say thanks to those that support this wonderful game. And it all starts with our naming rights sponsors. INET.
Connect better.
10
and 1.
Sporting.
And fun.
And Virgin Australia. We look forward to your company on Friday when you tune into the pre-game show and to prepare for all games coming up and, of course, the NBL All-Star Game. This is the #1 podcast in the universe for the INET NBL and it's called It Goes Off.